on road safety and have the objective of improving health status and elevate road trauma. I remember a first speaker from Nari saying that bribes are one of the main causes of road crashes. But panel, look, some road users believe, yes, they are entitled to petrol and car and extend to measures where they go beyond a speed limit and cover that by bribery and corruption. While this strategy will assist on education of all road users and promote responsible behavior in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, these acts of bribery and corruption are occurring throughout many parts of the world. Hence, the NRS aims to improve road user behavior and involve communities in road safety, as well as designing and implementing anti-corruption programs, which are policies and procedures that help assess and deal with bribery and corruption. In conclusion, zero deaths on our roads should be the vision that must be aimed for, because it is unacceptable if anyone should lose his or her life as the price of other people to get from one point to another in a rush. However, you may ask, are zero deaths possible? Well, panel, it's a vision, and I am very optimistic. A vision makes us think about what needs to actually happen so we can get there. It changes our mindset, and the truth is we have become far too complacent about road safety. The problem is that we have accepted it as normal that people die in traffic, but our starting point should be that crashes must never be deadly, even if someone makes a mistake. I believe if we transform our human mobility based on this idea, there shall be magnificent change that we seek. With that being said, I rest my case.
Okay, we will now be having on the second speaker from Nari Secondary School. May you please give him or her a round of applause.
Greeting to the House at large and his fullest capacity. I go by the name of Simone Pashi, and I'll be your second speaker. Today we are all gathered here under the motion that states South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best road strategy in the world. According to the speech given by Fikile Mbalula, Minister of Transport, published by YouTube Day in 15 April 2021, the National Road Safety Strategy is the best because they are responsible and reliable for road safety. They are responsible and reliable because it promotes responsible and safe road user behavior. It also ensures that there is a national conservation register in operation. The National Road Safety Strategy introduced a demerit point to the identity repeat offenders. Now I like to go to my rebuttals. I had the first speaker from Class Mutapo says South Africa's strategies will never be superior but blender. Well, not for long, because we were aimed to make the best by improved ideas and technological innovations. Now I would like to get to my point. It reduces road crashes, and the road crashes were reduced by 50% since 2021 to 2022. It aims to remove most traffic punishment from the justice. It also reduced the number of road traffic accidents in general and fatalities in particular. It also ensures all vehicles occupants maintain a safe following distance. It simply means it is the best, but not the best in the whole world. And they are well-developed countries like, for example, Switzerland and Netherlands and Japan. They are the most developed countries that there is no high road strategy crashes. The road strategy is the best in Africa because it saves our lives as South African citizens. It also improves road user complaints with traffic laws. They further improve working relationships between traffic and authorities in the various spheres of the government. It also gives road safety rules that need to be followed. Some of them are driving fitness, don't drink and drive, use of seat belts, pedestrian safety, and many more. Even though they are very stubborn citizens who do not want to follow the rules strategy, even though people may not follow the rules, as a second speaker follow the rule, I as a second speaker have solutions. The first solution is that we must reduce the speed limit of residential, urban and school areas where pedestrians movement is high. An important aspect of this approach is that humans make mistakes, but these mistakes do not and should not result in fatality or a serious injury is the road. The second solution is introducing a zero tolerance to drunk driving. The third solution is educating drivers and road users on the importance of using the seatbelt and restraining a child when driving. Panel House, if you think that the national road strategy is not the best, imagine if our nation did not have a road strategy. It simply means our road will be full of accidents and many people will lose their lives. So our national strategy is obviously the best because our citizens' lives are clearly being saved. And Wolf 24 reported an article where a traffic officer was filmed accepting a bribe on the 4th June 2021 by Charles Raymond. This proves that people who are supposed to make roads safe are the ones who are making the roads unsafe. In conclusion, I still say our national road safety, but not the best in the whole world. I thank you.
Okay, may we now please have the second speaker from third school of which is Mama Lemani Secondary School. May please have her. Give her a round of applause.
Greetings to the house at large and its large capacity. Standing before you is Rebuttals from Polokwane Secondary School. I would like to start with my rebuttals. I would like to rebut the first speaker from Ikalimisho. She came to the floor and told us that the National Road Safety Strategy is not the best, and it's now 2022 and we still did not achieve half of the 50%. Yes, we didn't achieve half of the 50%, but we have to take in consideration that the department is still trying to achieve the 50%. The 50%. Hopefully by the year 2030, we might have achieved this NRSS. And I'd also like to invite the second speaker from Northern. Ladies and gentlemen, listening is a skill. She came to the front and told us that our first speaker disagreed with the motion, and that's not true because our first speaker agreed with the NRSS and said that it's the best national road safety strategy. Now to my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand what the national road strategy is. The national road strategy is removing most traffic offense punishment from justice systems and ensuring that there is a national contravention register in operation introducing demerit points to identify repeat offenders. This strategy aims to prevent and reduce deaths or serious injuries from road crashes over the next 10 years and support our long-term vision of zero by 2050. Although achieving these targets, particularly for serious injuries, will be difficult. This was adapted from www.roadsafety.com.au. The road safety strategy of 2021 adopts the internationally recognized safe system approach, which is a holistic and proven approach that considers how people, vehicles, fleets, and roads work together to create a safe system. And this is how we think the road safety can be improved. It can be improved by never drink and drive, always wear seatbelt, keep a safe distance from the vehicle ahead, always avoid distractions, never break a red signal, always drive within speed limits, avoid the drowsiness while driving. Road crashes have been identified both globally and domestically as a socio-economic challenge. It is estimated that 1.25 million people die annually due to road crashes, and further, 15 million people suffer varying degrees of injuries of all crashes. Human factors account for a large percentage, confirming that these crashes are in fact avoidable and preventable. It is our belief that through this national road safety strategy, we will be able to change the behavior and attitude of road users. The key strategic themes are to improve coordination and institutional strength, improve road safety data system, eliminate fraud and corruption, ensure adequate funding and capacity, increase efficacy of first response, simplify access to post-crash care. On a global level, the World Health Organization, WHO, Road Safety Status Report of 2015 defined the problem of road injuries as a major public health issue. Road traffic crashes are now the leading cause of fatalities in developing countries. Low and middle income countries remain the most affected because road traffic crashes and injuries are linked not only to the number of vehicles, road conditions, and drivers. The United Nations General Assembly has proclaimed the period 2011 to 2020 as the decade of action for road safety, with a goal to stabilize and then reduce the forecast level of road traffic fatalities around the world by increasing activities conducted at the national, regional, and global levels. Following the highly successful first global ministerial conference on road safety, hosted by the government of the Russian Federation in November 2009, a decade of action for road safety 2011 to 2020 was officially proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in March 2010. As a participant of the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety 2011 to 2020, the UNDA South Africa has endorsed the global undertaking to save up to 5 million lives and contribute to the prevention of up to 15 million serious injuries by 2020. In according
Thank you. Now we'll be moving to the fourth school and may please have the second speaker from St. Bede's Catholic High School.
May I start? Thank you. First of all, I would love to greet each and every respectful person that is seated in this very room. I am Shimena Marubu from St. Bede's Catholic High School, and I'll be the second speaker for today. First of all, I will introduce my speech. I will start by giving the topic that was given to us today, which is South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 as the best road strategy in the world. Now, my first speaker has already given the proper terms of road safety and strategy, but I believe that it is most advisable for me to actually explain them more. Road safety refers to the methods and measures used to prevent road users from being killed or seriously injured, whereas strategy is a plan of action intended to accomplish a certain mission. Road safety becomes a global issue that ranks as one of the most pressing matters in our society today. Now, the National Road Strategy, NRSS, is a product of both national and international policies and road safety, safety and the development of the strategy. The strategy is aligned with the safety system and not acknowledge the people will make mistakes and get involved in the car crashes. According to the real-time news, our former transport minister, Mr. Radebe Lefty, has said that road accident costs the economy an estimated 4.5 billion each year, a true story indeed. Let's look at this with a different eye, my fellow age mates. Let's look at this with a different eye. The key importance of traffic rules and signs is maintaining safety. There are many obstacles and dangers on the roads that can cause tragic harms or serious deaths. Traffic rules and safety signs help to mitigate the risk and reduce the accidents in our roads. The key aspect of the intended road safety management program is increasing the accidents that do occur in our roads. The DOT also engaged the community-adjusted national roads to find solutions of actually protecting ourselves in the roads. My good Africans, it takes a brilliant mind indeed to comprehend and conceive such strategies. So who are we to say that they are not the best? We cannot be comparing ourselves with countries like Australia. We have to understand that we are still a developing country. We need to understand that we cannot be putting the other countries first, knowing that very well that they are way ahead. Me, myself, and my team do believe that it is the best road strategies because at the end of the day, the strategies are not the ones that are involved in the car crashes, but road users do. We need to understand that we are given too many rules in the roads of today. First of all, do not drink and drive. Drivers, do avoid that. Always put your seatbelt on. Drivers, do avoid that. Do not drive at an excessive speed. Drivers, do avoid that. So why are you going to tell us that these rules are not the best? They are the best. The only problem here is that people choose rather to ignore this. Now, as a peer new article published on the 6th of April 2020, is the strategy provided border implementation and functional severance that in South Africa there was 1% reduced over 100,000. It has been 26 and now it is 25. The funny thing is that road users do pretend to be actors and actresses and pretend to know nothing about the road rules. We cannot blame the strategies, but rather, I do repeat this with confidence, that we should blame the road users. So just imagine taking a phenomenal idea and putting it all to waste, trying to change all in the name of we still have countries like Australia. I still repeat this again with confidence. They are more developed than us. As I have said this, we do have rules, or we rather call them strategies, that they help in deterring. People no longer wear their seatbelt. My father involved. My father, getting personal, does not even put on a seatbelt when he drives. Please, do not blame the strategies. Rather blame the road users. If only they were responsible and obeyed the rules, we would have been in a very different situation. And with that being said, thanks for the attention that you have given me, and I hope that you look at this with a different eye. Thank you for the attention.
Okay, may we please now have the second speaker from the fifth school, the second speaker from Masiala Progressive.
Greetings to the House at large. Standing before you is Nahatika Valatile, the second speaker from Masiala Progressive. Now, the motion that has brought us here today is South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy is the best in the world. I would like to give an overall description of what this motion means. This motion statement means that the National Road Safety Strategy or plan proposed by South Africa is the best as it outlines the priorities of road safety management. Well, my first speaker already presented our team's case split, but I would like to remind the House of my case split. I will mainly be starting with my rebuttals, then reminding the House of the main aim for the strategy, the main challenges that come with the strategy and their solutions, and elaborating and introducing the 5 principles of the UNDA, which is the United Nations Democratic of Action Plan. Now moving on to my rebuttals. Well, the first speaker from Limiso came forth and mentioned that South Africa is competing with other countries in terms of safety. Well, why do we need to compete with other countries while we could do it at our own terms, at our own pace? The main thing of the solution is to have a safer country and not to be nominated the best. The first speaker from Nari came forth and talked about the low quality of South Africa being ranked number 6 in the world. But the main thing that we came here to do is to debate if the National Road Safety Strategy proposed is the best or not. It seems like everyone is talking about the strategy being the problem, but the problem is not the strategy. It is the implementation and the monitoring of it, which I'll be addressing in their speech. Now moving on to my positive matter. The first thing that I'll be addressing is reminding the House of the main aim of the strategy. The main aim of the strategy is to reduce the harm resulting from motor vehicle collisions, also to deliver significant reduction in road trauma together with our communities that will put us on a path of achieving a future with at least a minimum of 0.5% or even zero road accident rate. The second thing that I'll be addressing is the main challenges that come with the strategy. There are many challenges that come with the strategy, with the likes of it being infrastructure and funding. But the main problem with the strategy is monitoring and implementation, which is basically the principle versus practicality. Yes, we agree that the strategy mentioned is the best as it outlines the main priorities of it, such as road safety. But the question is, how do we expect the strategy to work if we have a challenge with implementing it and monitoring it? Citizens of South Africa lack the foundation of knowledge when it comes to road safety. Some aren't even willing to abide by the rules, while the government has a problem of inadequate enforcement and they are failing to monitor the situation. With such a problem, we can't just sit back and do nothing. The government needs to enhance education and training of road users, which my second speaker will be elaborating further on that. With monitoring, we could have the government make it a priority to make sure that every car goes for inspection once in every 2 months, and monitoring infrastructure by checking if the infrastructure of the roads or the mechanisms put into place are still working or not. This will end with the car going for inspection once every 2 months and monitoring infrastructure by checking whether it is still good or not. This will end up creating employment, which will tackle another issue we are facing as a country. Monitoring and implementation is what ensures a strategy is good or not, just promising. Black and white is beautiful, but when practiced, it often turns into grey. Now introducing the 5 pillars of the United Nations Decade of Plan, which are adapted from the Strategic Plan's National Road Safety Strategy from 2016 to 2030 under the UNDA Global Plan and the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars are safer vehicles, safer road users, road safety management, safer roads and mobility, and post-crash response. When it comes to, I will be addressing 2 of this, and my second speaker will be elaborating furthermore on the 5 principles and addressing the other 3. Well, when it comes to safer vehicles, some cars don't even meet the vehicle safety standard. Some are even lower to fit the owner's standard, and some even remove air filters in order for the car to make a lot of noise with the likes of the DTIs, right? To ensure that we have safer vehicles, the government should make it a necessity, as I already mentioned in part of my speech, that every car goes for inspection once every 2 months. People who modify their cars can't afford to do so before and after their car is inspected. They'll eventually get tired of it and stop, which will be promising us a safer road users. Overall, for us to achieve a goal of 0 fatality rate, we need to work together as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you. While the educators are still educating, I can see that there are a few people who feel the urge to use the restroom. I'm giving everybody exactly 2 minutes to use the bathroom if they feel as though they need to go to the restroom. I'm giving you exactly 2 minutes starting from now. Okay, I'm being told that the break time allocated will be extended from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. So now we have 3 minutes remaining. 3 minutes remaining, and we will be beginning. After that, we will be having a break after the second speaker, and then we'll also be having a break after the third speaker. But then the breaks after the second speaker and the first speaker and the third speaker will not be 5 minutes, they will be 2 minutes. For those of you who were not here, who went to the bathroom, I just stated that after the last second speaker, we will be having a 2-minute break, and after the third speaker, the last third speaker, we will be having another 2-minute break. Unfortunately, time is not on our side, so the caucus, both formal and informal caucuses, will be taken out. There will be no caucus in this debate due to the fact that time is not on our side. So again, after the last second speaker, we will be having a 2-minute break, and after the third speaker, we'll be having another 2-minute break. Caucuses will not be appointed today. There will be no caucus, whether either formal or informal. No in-visa today. Are we good? Are we okay? Good. Yes? No in-visa today. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. Okay, thank you. If everyone is ready, may we please adjudicate it? Oh, okay. We're still waiting for one adjudicator. Once she arrives, we'll continue ASAP. Okay, now that the educators are ready, may we please proceed to having the second speaker from the sixth school of today, of which is Class Mutapa Secondary School. We give him or her a round of applause.
Good morning to the House at its largest capacity. My name is Kenneth. I am the truth that proposes or aligns with the truth. Therefore, I am the paradox. Debating with a motion that states that South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best strategy in the world. In September 2020, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution. The aim was to prevent at least 50% road traffic deaths and injuries. In brackets, improving global road safety. In cooperation with the UN Road Safety, the global plan for the decade of action was released in October 2021. South Africa and India have almost the same population and almost the same accidental rate, experiencing with 112,000 deaths increasing every year, speeding their accidental rate. There will be a full improvement while we're going forth into 2030. Therefore, we will be able to show improvements when we get there. Tim Masiala pointed out the NRSS, which led to most of the school. The National Road Safety Strategy has failed, but now it's actually starting from ground zero. So it is actually trying to improve while it's in cooperation with the citizens and much more of its partners. South Africa is a very gigantic place. We cannot immediately cover it all. So it will take at least a single step at a time as droplets still count in litters. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still promising you that the improvement will be actually complete in 2030. For the amount of deaths that occurred during those times, the accidental rate increased with 13.09%, taking hundreds and thousands lives with it. As soon as the 2016 to 2030 strategy was introduced, we are proud to have achieved as much as we did. We are proud to have decreased and along the way saving at least 100 lives. As I mentioned, it is a single step at a time, and as we move into 2030, the percent will be as huge as a percent, much more. As you order, we as speakers aim to deliver the following. My first speaker should be able to give her introduction, supply definitions, and justification, give opening statement, her team case split, then her conclusion. I, as the second speaker, should deliver the following. Introduction, reintroduce the motion, rebuts, my arguments, my case split, then my conclusion. My third speaker should deliver the following. Introduction, her summary, her rebuttals, then why we should win the debate. In conclusion, South Africa's Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best strategy, for we have not risen a single percent above our accidental rates. This strategy brought in new and fixed roads, improved sidewalks. Here I am talking about saving lives, most perfect. Safe and comfortable drive without any potholes or damaged street light or traffic lights. If this strategy is not the best, how were we able to save as much as we did? It is possible that in 2030, we will have approved much more than 50%. We might actually go beyond it. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Road Safety Strategy is actually looking for improvements, not only in the world, not only in South Africa, but in themselves as well. Here we are moving forward into 2030. We are promising you that the road will be safe and it will actually be a much better place where we will be able to actually have safety and we will be able to have safe drives and safety roads. We are looking for improvements. This is how we're going to move forward. We are bringing improvements that will take at least 14 years going forward. So from 2016 to 2030, that is when we'll actually have, we'll actually have 14 years. That is the minimum time that we have set as the department that we'll actually be able to move forward and actually show improvement to the world. We are bringing change. That is what we're offering. We are bringing improvement. That is again what we're offering. If we cannot risk life, that means we cannot be able to save none. If you are not recommended the best, then how are we going to be able to show that we actually have what it takes to actually be able to save lives? We are moving forward into 2030. That is when we'll be able to see improvement down on the world. We have done a lot, even though it's been as small, but we have shown that we actually appreciate lives. We actually saved 1.28% that we are not proud of, but actually it's not an increase, but it's a decrease in road accidents. That is an improvement. If you do not take a single step forward, then how are we able to take at least a few steps forward? Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we are bringing change. So please, if you have what it takes, please forward your comment to the department so we can be able to actually show how much we are doing. We were able to actually show improvements, and that actually helped us to be able to see that we can do what we actually promised. That shows that we are able to take a step forward and actually improve into the 50% road accidental save. Running has never been better than walking, because if you run, you trip. But if you walk slow, you'll be able to take as much time as you need, and you'll be able to get recommended the best. That is how winning is made. You will have to take your time so you can bring better improvements to the world. And that's my case.
Okay, may we please have our second speaker of the day, of which comes from the Tlalemeso Secondary School. May we please have the second speaker from the Tlalemeso Secondary School. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
Now, greetings. I go by the name of Choukhatiso Faith, and then as the second speaker with the motion that brought us forth today that states that South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best road safety strategy in the world. Now, straight to my battles. Strategy until 2050. We're focusing on the strategy from 2016 to 2030. will be a new strategy, but you were unable to state what that strategy was. It was approved by the board at the end of 2014, yet it was stated that it was approved at the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014. Even if SA had money to fund, they will take the money and use it for something else. At the moment, you should have did some reference to make us believe that it will be used for something else. I mean, who doesn't want their country to improve after so many years, after losing so many people? And you're expecting the House to take that? Road safety strategy, trying to prevent it through the anti-campaign. My fellow House, our officials on the side of the roads are disappointing us by taking bribes. The NRSS tends to say it's failing because there's no evaluation and monitoring. Info NRSS 2016 to 2030, page 63. Having my speaker getting rebutted for the fact of saying South Africa's national road safety strategy is not the best since it did not meet the 50%. Oh, come on. Do you call a strategy that doesn't meet even a quarter of 100% the best? Don't blame the road users, but you forget to understand that your so-called strategy was aiming to also mitigate human behavior. Now, back to my speech. South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 not being adequate and best strategy in the world. I'll be focusing on which strategy can be adequate to the whole world, why the strategy can be the best, why South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy is not the best strategy to use. To continue where my first speaker has left off. In South Africa, we lose more than 45 people daily on our roads. And SA strategy is not the best, and that has been proven by research such as the statistics. Ladies and gentlemen, let's face the reality up here. Consider that Norway is the safest road in the whole world, scoring an impressive 8.10 out of 10. And it's not because of South Africa's national strategies that you guys say that we have to use, but of the organization Road Safety in Norway, which is the NPRA, as my first speaker has already mentioned. Therefore, it has to be recognized as the best strategy in the whole world. By David Nickel on 1st of December 2019 from the article Life in the Norway. Rather than the South African national road safety that failed the country itself, so how do you expect the strategy to save other countries? There was a small increase in road deaths in Norway during 2018. 100 people lost their lives in road accidents since from 2000 to 2018. At least the number of annual road-related deaths fell by 68%. At the very same moment, number of traffic deaths per 100 inhabitants, the drop is 74%. When on the other side, South Africa failed to maintain its policy that it has created. I mean, the NSW road safety strategy aims to make the road safer through at least 30% annual reduction in road deaths and serious injuries by 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that it's now 2022, yet it failed to even make the half of it, but only made through 4%. As my first speaker has stated. Norway's maximum legal blood level is extremely low at just 0.2 grams. Around 15% of fatal accidents were alcohol related, when other places like Rhode Island ranged 34%. Whereas South Africa's death rate due to drinking and driving limit of about legal 0.5 gram from effects of drunk driving in SA document page 1. It's been stated that the battle to improve safety on the roads in South Africa can't be won unless all stakeholders play their role and took responsibility of their own safety. But do they? Will they? And did they? By Gilana Lutando on the 12th of October 2017 from Road Safety Post. It is estimated by the NHTSA that 5 to 6 million car accidents happen in the US each year. In 2019, but instead the road accident kept on increasing.
As we are continuing, as we have reached the end of this part of the debate, we will now be having our 2-minute recess. Before doing that, there's an important announcement I'd love to make. If there's anyone who would love to watch if there's, you must continue. Okay, I've had a request that you must just continue and carry on. The 2-minute break will be moved to after the third speaker. The announcement is that if there's anyone, I'm not prohibiting it now, I'm just stating that if there's anyone who would love to watch the recordings or this entire debate, you can go to the Capricorn South District Municipality page on Facebook and or YouTube. You can just search the Capricorn South District Municipality debate on Facebook, either Facebook and or YouTube. Is everyone good? Can I do the Capricorn South District Municipality? So, yes, the Capricorn South District Municipality on YouTube. It's a channel. The latest video, it's live now on either YouTube or Facebook. Are we good? Yes, I'm not inhibiting anyone. I'm not asking anyone to turn on their cell phones right now to view the video, but please respect my house rules and keep your cell phones off at all times. If I hear a cell phone ringing, I will have to kick you out. Are we all good?
Yes.
May we please, now we may proceed. May we all please have the second speaker from Noord-Holland Water School. May you please give him a round of applause.
Okay, so one thing that needs to be made abundantly clear in today's debate is that different countries use and create different strategies for different problems that they possess, right? This looks like South Africa moving from a safety strategy based on fatality rates to Norway having a safety strategy focusing on removing most traffic offense punishment from the justice system, right? So greetings to the House at large. My name is Revenza Manamela and I'm the second speaker from Team Noord-Holland. The motion that has brought us here today is that South Africa's national road safety strategy is the best safety strategy in the world, right? So panel, during the debate, we've seen and come to conclusions of ourselves, right? We've seen that not only is a safety strategy based for a certain country and implemented based on what the country is going through, but we don't believe that these kind of strategies will then work for every country in itself, right? And why is this a problem? Because strategies are implemented for different problems, and secondly, strategies are created to save lives for a specific country with different road management skills, right? So therefore, it is unfair to judge a safety strategy created on saving lives, and then to further compare to one of another country which looks at decreasing fatality rates. We believe that panel, that becomes a huge issue within today's debate. But moreover panel, I'm going to be doing two things within today's debate. I'm going to recontextualize the debate, and secondly, I'm going to prove to you the legitimacy of the road safety around the world, right? But before I get into that, let me have a few rebuttals. Panel, we have a huge issue within today's debate. Some teams believe that the safety strategy in itself is wrong, and that's where the big clash comes within today's debate. Believe the strategy is what keeps us going as a country. The problem is the implementation and what our government officials are doing with the money that's supposed to be that's supposed to be used for this certain problem, right? But moreover, panel, we believe that over 80% of road accidents are caused by the people or society in itself. And therefore, panel, we don't believe that we can therefore blame a strategy that is best put into place for a situation, but rather blame the society that keep breaking the rules that are put into place as of the strategy. But moreover, panel, I'd like to get into my first argumentation, which is South Africa has the best safety strategy for South Africa within itself. This argument aims to prove that all strategies are there depending on the type of problem that the country is facing, right? But moreover, panel, we tell that according to a rivalized article named The Accident Statistics in South Africa, South Africa has had around 42,000 deaths due to fatal car crashes as of 2021. The strategy that was put into place by the Department of Roads and Transport aims to reduce this amount by 4% yearly, right? This concludes to a whopping 50% by the end of 2030. We tell you that, panel, this strategy is therefore realistic and possible. But moreover, we tell you that if South Africa were to work together in itself to work on implementing the strategy, we would reach that 50% mark by the end of 2030. But moreover, panel, we tell you that 80% of car crashes are from human causes, whereas 20% are only from infrastructure failures such as potholes. So therefore, we believe that because of this knowledge, therefore we should enhance our strategies on focusing on human causes rather than blaming the government for infrastructure failures, of which the percentage of car crashes due to that is very limited, right? But moreover, panel, this argument concludes to say that South Africa is really looking out for what's best for South Africa, and therefore we believe that in itself, South Africa has the best safety strategy because it focuses on saving its people's lives. But moreover, panel, into my second argumentation on South Africa versus the rest of the world. This argument aims to prove that every country's strategy works best for what the country's problems are, right? We tell you that, like, countries such as Australia work and aim to reduce around 40% of fatal car crashes as of a 20-year period, like as of a 10-year period, like whereas South Africa works to do this within a 20-year period. And this just proves that South Africa's strategy looks at our economy and what our economy can afford, and that's why they increased this strategy period by a 10-year period rather than Australia's. And therefore that debunks what one of the schools have further told us about Australia's strategy working because they have money. We tell you that we increased the number of years because we know that South Africa doesn't have the economic capability to handle that. So therefore we feel like with an extra 10 years we can achieve that. But moreover, panel, we tell that countries such as Norway with really good safety strategies look to decrease criminal offences on roads, right? We tell you that in itself, this also helps to reduce fatal car crashes because they focus on indirectly managing the fatal car crashes by implementing strategies such as taking these people into punishment. But moreover, panel, we tell you that in today's debate, we conclude by saying the strategy that South Africa has in itself is not the problem. The problem then becomes implementation and what government is doing. We tell you that with issues such as corruption, if we were to solve this, then we will have the best implementation of the best strategy in the world. And therefore, we believe that South Africa's strategy is what's best for South Africa in itself. Thank you.
All right, may we please now have the second speaker from Nari Secondary School. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
As phenomenal, the salutations are regarded as the golden keys. Consequently, I hand them over to you. Greetings to the house at large. Nyeletsira Mhlale is my name, and I'm the second speaker from Nari Senior Secondary School. I, as the second speaker, are going to list the pros and cons of the National Road Strategy. It is very crucial that I, as the second speaker, have to build upon the perspective given by my first speaker. According to the article written by Phumelele Sibiya, published by Dispatch, date 21 April 2021, South Africa's national road safety has proven to be the best in the world, as it has initiated road safety campaigns like the Arrive Alive Road Safety Campaign, which ensures safe travel around our country. The government has continued to provide campaigns on road safety and still trying to ensure that every driver or passenger arrive alive. It is true that roads in South Africa are well maintained and easy to navigate. Despite having the 10th largest road network in the world, measuring 750,000 kilometers, the national road network, which is managed by Sanral, measuring 22,253 kilometers, is South Africa's road safety strategy the best in the world? Here's why that may not be truthful. A major challenge that South Africa faces today is the lack of enforcement of existing laws. Even if our country reduces the speed limits in the residential and urban areas, as the second speaker from Mamulamani recommended, without adequate enforcement, drivers are more likely to disobey these laws. The Road Traffic Management Corporation, RTMC, which was established in terms of Section 3 of the RTMC Act number 20 of 1999, as the road agency responsible for all road safety matters in the country, still struggle that, especially which present a major challenge to their maintenance. We all know the common causes of road safety, and we can all speak about all the faults of the government and road policies on that. There had been a road strategy before, but did it make a difference? It's all like promises put on papers. According to the World Health Organization, South Africa has one of the worst traffic mortality rates in the world and the second worst in Africa. More than 14,000 people are reported to be killed in road crashes, and as yet, no downward trend can be observed. The Road Traffic Management Corporation estimates the economic cost to exceed more than 300 billion per annum, given the fact that not all cost components are included in these estimates. Furthermore, no conditions have been made for underreporting. Poor people are more likely to be vulnerable road users. They travel on foot, by bicycles, and by public transport. Here's a number of key issues to be addressed, which are related to the road safety situation in South Africa. The approach to address road safety in the country fundamentals across all the government. Road users do not adhere to the rules of the roads. Enforcement strategy needs improvement and to be aligned to improving road user behavior. Road infrastructure provision is vehicle-driven, and there is an inadequate provision made for vulnerable road users, which are the largest group of road users. Panel House, don't get us wrong. I and my fellow compatriots are trying to say that South Africa's national road strategy is the best, but definitely not the best in the whole world. Honorable adjudicators, South Africa is still a developing country, and its road strategy is not perfect. My fellow debaters, according to the article written by Kesa Wambuki, date 29 March 2022, Singapore is the first country with the most best road strategy, followed by Switzerland, Netherlands, France, and many more. But still, South Africa stands as number 6 in our country. So it is best because it stands as number 6 in our continent, not the best in the whole world. Well, here are some of the solutions that the Department of Transport should at least try. They should at least try setting up of model driving training institutes in states, and they must try refresher training to drivers of heavy motor vehicles on road safety through electronic and print media. They must try tightening of safety standards for vehicles like seatbelt, anti-lock, braking system, etc. They must try using new technology such as smart traffic lights and traffic control system, artificial intelligence. They must try the use of telematics and automotive technology, which can contribute to prevent and reduce the number of road-related accidents and also improve road safety. My team's line of argument is that South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best, but definitely not the best in the whole world. I thank you all.
Alright, we will now be having asking for the second speaker from the third school, which is Mamalemani Secondary. Please give the second speaker from Mamalemani Secondary School a round of applause.
They all came forth and told us that the South African National Road Safety Strategy is not the best, but they never gave us the definite strategy to run towards the South African National Road Safety Strategy. Greetings to the House at large. My name is Puti and my surname is Mona. The motion specifically means that, in short summary, it means that the South African National Road Safety Strategy is the best of them all in the world. I'll be focusing on the aim of National Road Safety Strategy on transportation system of our country, South Africa, and the aim of National Road Safety Strategy on personal behavior. Firstly, I would like to rebut on the first speaker from Declaration. She came forth and told us that the contribution of the infrastructure is 300 billion rands. Specifically, as an example, since the COVID-19 hit our country, South Africa, the government was able to buy the vaccines, which cost more than 300 billion of rands. This specifically means that the government will be able to buy the resources in order to fix the infrastructure because the COVID-19 vaccine costed more than 300 billion of rands. We do not have to turn a blind eye on the fact that the South African National Road Safety Strategy is the best of them all in the world, because in a comparison with the strategies that were implemented previously, which is United Nations of Decade of Action, 2011 to 2020, which is 9 years specifically. They managed to reduce 30% of the crashes in 9 years. But this is the South African National Road Safety Strategy, was implemented in 2016, and now it's 2022. It's only 5 years, but they managed to reduce 30% of the road crashes. This means that by the time goes on, they will be able to reduce more than 30% of road crashes. Me and my team agrees to the fact that the South African National Road Safety Strategy is the best of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, usually people who engage in road crashes and get injured on the road and die on the road are usually breadwinners. And the moment we lose breadwinners is the moment we left with people who are in well. We do not have to turn a blind eye on the fact that the South African National Road Safety System is the best because their aim is to improve safer travel, safer vehicles, mobility, safer road users, and post-crash response. The aim of NRSS on personal behavior on road use. Information from World Health Organization. If you cannot persuade someone's behavior on road use, both the drivers and pedestrians, then there's no way we can be able to reduce road crashes because we already fail to deal with the personal behavior and personality traits that often have effect on road crashes. But the strategy was developed to improve the personal behavior, and they already did improve the personal behavior. The strategy, since the strategy was developed, they improved the infrastructure. They improved the infrastructure and the personality behaviors on road use. The study was once investigated relating to the effects of the transportation system in our country, South Africa. Both the primary and the secondary data were collected, and they found out that the infrastructure has a massive impact on road crashes. Have a massive impact on road crashes. But since the South African National Safety Strategy was promoted, the infrastructure failure is improved, and the crashes decreased. The road crashes decreased in a large mass of percentage. Me as an individual and my team agrees to the motion that the South African National Road Safety
Before we continue, I'm giving one last warning about cell phones. Please switch off your cell phones. No more cell phones, or no more audio or any form of sound from cell phones will be tolerated. Now, may we please have the second speaker from the fourth school, of which is St. Bede's Catholic High.
I would like to acknowledge everyone present in this very room. I go by the name of
am your second speaker for today, and I will demand nothing less than your attention and for you to keep an open mindset. Today, I, as your second speaker, will be tackling on the following motion: South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy from 2016 to 2030 is the best road safety strategy in the world. This strategy attacks challenges faced by common, regular people. Challenges such as high levels of pedestrian casualties. For this problem, the strategy is to educate programs in schools and in various communities. It will concentrate on outrageous behaviors on roads and life in general. As your second speaker, my role is to give you a clear picture of what affects you daily. Today I am fully on the positive side of things. Firstly, I would like to keep a balanced mindset. I am agreeing with this motion whilst bringing valid points to the table and to the House today. The National Road Safety Strategy will help reduce road deaths. This primary strategic target of the road safety strategy is to reduce fatal crashes by a total of 50% by the year 2030. This article was published on the 12th October 2017 from the Arrive Alive website. This article also showed that this strategy is based on a safe system approach. The approach looks at a holistic view of the road transport system and interaction among roads and roadside, travel speed and vehicles, as well as the road users. The road safety strategy involves enforcement, engineering, cooperation and coordination, evaluation, education and communication. First of all, panel. The aim of this whole debate is to educate. Let's all agree to a better future and a very learned youth. By supporting this motion today, I show a mind of progress and illustrate a huge hunger for a better world and a bright future for South Africa. Remember, this strategy also involves enforcement, which is another way to have more effective results. The government has started a campaign by the name Arrive Alive. By choosing to oppose this motion, you, my good sirs and ma'ams, show a lack of a certain understanding and a little of lack of knowledge about road safety in general. We build the nation. This strategy is the best. As a matter of fact, this strategy is one of the best ideas brought to surface by humankind. South Africa's strategy is the best. My good people, the problem here is corruption, not the strategy. If we reduce corruption, our strategy will get better and better with time. We just need to be open-minded and get exposed to growth. South Africa's strategy also took pivotal steps to integrate and harmonize traffic law enforcement in the country. The Road Traffic Agency was transferred to the RTMC in the year under review. The Law Enforcement Review Committee also commenced its work. They undertook a consultative engagement, fragmentation, and to harmonize traffic law enforcement standards, policies, and procedures across impact. In reducing offenses, injuries, and fatalities, the cooperation is also mindful of the fact that corrupt activities within road traffic law enforcement contribute to road crashes and fatalities. This article was written by Lutando Nyilana of the Marketing and Media Division of Road Traffic Management. My good people, safety is a huge problem. In a country like ours, we need all the solutions we can get to get help, to develop betterment, and we get what we deserve and need. We deserve safety on our roads. We deserve to drive stress-free. We deserve to not worry that after a certain trip, you might never return home alive. The aim of this motion is to educate. As I go into more detail, I would like to bring a realization that South Africa is trying to progress. This strategy has been made by South Africans to help improve and help in making road accidents a thing of the past. As the strategy brings an effective way to reduce accidents on the road. By an instant half, in the upcoming years, South Africa is becoming more and more vigilant as well. It has been awakened. It is trying to help the world be better. SA has worked towards this strategy as it cares for its people and their utter safety. We have
now have the second speaker from Marcia La Progress. Can we please give him or her a round of applause?
An article by Tunisia Phillips under the Mail Guardian website shows a study where it was reported that road accidents from the 1st October 2017 to 30 June 2021, there was a total of 48,330 vehicles involved in 583 fatal crashes. Statistics like this are statistics that make South Africa rank as as having some of the worst roads in the world. Greetings to the House and its capacity. My name is Mokon Kawa, and today I will be the second speaker from Masela team. Before moving on to my speech, I would like to dwell on some rebuttals. Now, the second speaker from St. Pete came here and talked about how we cannot compare ourselves with already developed countries, and yet goes on to say it is the best strategy in the world. How can we truly say, and how can we truly know that South Africa's strategy is the best in the world if we are not willing to compare ourselves with countries that have already succeeded in their strategies to road safety? Now, she also blames road users for their failed road strategy, and she said we should mainly blame the road users, and yes, we should mainly blame the road users and not the strategy. Now, how can we only blame the road users where there are more people involved in this, like the government officials and the traffic officers themselves that accept these bribes? We cannot blame the corruption on the road users, but because they are not the only people involved in this debate. Now, my first speaker has already mentioned my case split, but I would like to remind the House of my case split. Firstly, I'll be reminding the House of the team's case, and I'll be talking about the failing implementation of the strategy, suggestions on how to improve the strategy, and I'll be discussing the overall strategy. So firstly, I would like to say the strategy, the South African National Road Safety Strategy is actually a very good strategy. It's a fairly impressive strategy that ranks amongst the best in the world. The reason why it's such a good strategy is because, for one, it provides a clear roadmap and guiding principles on routes. It defines the action and it sets the right priorities. The problem then comes in when it comes to the implementation of this strategy. So moving on to my positive matter. My first argument is on the already failing implementation of the strategy. South Africa introduced the National Road Safety Strategy in 2016, and it was approved the following year with the aim of reducing fatal crashes by 50% by the year 2030. It has been 6 years now, and we are 8 years away from 2030. Yet we have not seen any significant difference that we can say it is leading to our long-term goal of 50% reduction with 50% reduction in road crashes. So it feels the fact that it fails to reach its target shows that the fact that it's failing to reach its target shows that defeats the whole purpose of why it was invented in the first place. For example, the article that I mentioned in my introduction by Tunisia Phillips, where the Mail Guardian website, this study shows that there were 45,282 fatalities recorded with a severity of death per crash of 1.203 over the 3.80 years period since the strategy has been introduced, and of these crashes occurring mainly during the holiday seasons. It is these type of statistics that make South African roads some of the most dangerous in the world. The main idea in this argument is, even though South Africa's road safety strategy is fairly impressive, the implementation of the strategy is simply just not as impressive, and it genuinely defeats the whole purpose of why the strategy was introduced in the first place. Moving on to my second argument, which states suggestions on how to improve the strategy. According to the Daily News Hungary website, Norway has ranked first with a safety driving score of 8.2 out of 10 due to low traffic death rates and high seatbelts. They achieve this because they do regular monitoring with their strategy and they have short-term and realistic goals. If South Africa does the same and achieve these short-term goals, we will be slowly building up towards our long-term goal of 50% reduction in road safety. Now, moving on to another key problem, which is corruption. Now, what is corruption? First of all, the corruption doesn't only happen with the higher department. It also happens with road users and traffic officers. So we believe that if the road safety plan, they mentioned that they'll be dealing with this corruption, but they never really said how they will be dealing with this corruption. So we would like the department to come up with a strategy of how to deal with
Okay, may we please now have the second speaker from class Mutapo Secondary School. May we please give him or her a microphone.
Greetings to the house at its largest capacity. My name is Rose Mujela and I am representing awareness. I would first like to remind the house of the motion. We are gathered here under the motion that says that South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best strategy. I would like to start with my rebuttals. The first speaker from ST Bettis came forth and told us that these strategies are not the ones involved in road crashes, but the people. If we had better strategies, then there wouldn't be such a high rate of road crashes. The second speaker from Northland came forth and told us what she thinks, not what is actually the truth. She came forth and told us that she thinks we can achieve where we can get where we will have no road crashes. But that's what she thinks and not really a fact. And here we are dealing with facts. We are supposed to provide the house with facts. And the second speaker from Mamulemani came forth and told us that hopefully things will change. Unfortunately, our people won't live by hope, but they live by change. And the first speaker from Class Mutapa came forth and told us that how are we guaranteed that this strategy will work since the last one failed? How are we guaranteed indeed? Are we really putting our people's lives in danger because of what we think will happen and not what is actually the truth? Are we really going to put our people's lives on what we think will happen? Let's face the reality and face that this strategy is a failure. The first speaker from Masialama Progressive came forth and told us that there hasn't been change. And I couldn't agree more. There hasn't been change at all. The little improvement does not work for us as a country. The little improvement does nothing for us as a country. I would now like to state my argument. My team and I disagree with the motion because if the South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 was the best strategy, we wouldn't be having such a high rate of fatal crashes and fatalities. According to an article by All Africa written during the month of January 2022, there has been a 75% increase in fatal crashes and a 78% increase in fatalities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is this the best we are talking about? Is this the best we are talking about when people are dying instead of saving lives? These strategies are meant to save lives. We are not meant to be losing more lives when we are actually meant to be saving lives. Our people are dying. People are dying like flies. People are dying like their lives don't even matter. And you are still going to stick with what we think is best? Come on. This article also proved the enormous change within the South African provinces except for KwaZulu-Natal and the Free State. And the breakdown is as follows. Gauteng recorded 138 fatalities compared to 101 the previous year. Limpopo recorded 123 fatalities compared to 72 the previous year. And the Western Cape recorded 121 fatalities compared to 64 the previous year. And Eastern Cape recorded 103 fatalities compared to 71 the previous year. Mpumalanga recorded 79 fatalities compared to 64 the previous year. And Northwest recorded 65 fatalities compared to 51 the previous year. And the Northern Cape recorded 20 fatalities compared to 15 the previous year. Is this the best we are talking about? Is this the change we are supposed to be proud of? Our people are dying. So is this what we are talking about? If people would call this best, then I would call it nonsensical. Because this is not the change we are aiming for. This is not even closest to reaching the rate required for South Africa, which is at least 50%. So if we are going to continue losing more lives due to calling this best, then this is not the best strategy. In conclusion, I would like to say that change is best, and without change, there is no best. So ladies and gentlemen, we haven't faced enough change. So according to me, there is no best. Thank you.
Okay, now if we may move on, may we please have upon the last second speaker from the 7th school of today, of which is Dikalemeso Secondary School. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
the House and its large and full of its capacity. Standing in front of you is the second speaker from the Tlamusa School, which is in Ngolomitsabo. The motion for today's debate is South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best road safety strategy in the world. Before I go any further, I would like to move on to my rebuttals. Awareness really is released in all countries. So how much awareness does it have to take to just reduce the road accidents? Just like in South Africa, awareness is taken out of all platforms, but still the crashes keep on increasing. As a team, next time, let's just stick to our point, not just clutching into each other. And delegates, we can't have the first speaker to agree and the second speaker to disagree, because clearly you just learned and you didn't know where the team stands. One of the speakers told us that South Africa has the best safety strategy, but yet he was unable to tell us how really safety is it. Delegates, we repeat that when we say that a strategy is the best, meaning inefficiently working, but it is the opinion 50% for you enough, since it's not even close to that. If the strategy of South Africa was best in the world, it was supposed to deal with the humans at first before going any further, instead of putting the blame on road users. Now I would like to move on to my case speech. As the second speaker will be speaking about, I will be emphasizing more on the team's points. Now I'll be moving on to my speech. Road safety has become a global issue that ranks as one of the most pressing matters facing society today. South Africa implemented various strategies and campaigns in the past, which varying degrees of success in slowing down the rate of fatalities over time. But now the road fatalities have really increasingly high. So what South Africa really needs to do is to objectively of the NRSS, which is National Road Safety Strategy, it needs really to create a safer road environment for all users, with a significant reduction in the number of injuries, fatalities due to road crashes, and they lead to injuries, death, and serious health problems. For example, the NSW. Its strategy is to include new targets to halve road death and reduce serious injuries by 30% by 2030. It is proven safe systems approach to road safety, so that initiatives to deliver safe roads, speeds, people and vehicles work together to keep people protected, adopted by NSW road safety strategy. But South Africa experiences many of the accidents. South Africa, it told people that it had 4 elements that they are following, which are safe vehicles, safe speed at which people travel, safe road user behavior, and lastly, safe road infrastructure. But they told people lie. They're telling people news that they know that they're not going to follow. They're telling people false news. One of the most pressing issues facing modern society today, both global and particularly within the South African context, is road safety. By 2030, road traffic crashes is expected to become the 5th leading cause of fatalities worldwide, overtaking AIDS, cancer of the trachea, and lungs, according to the World Health Organization, which is WHO. In SA, approximately 23.5 people per 100,000 lost their lives in their countries on the roads in 2014. The 2015 WHO World Health Organization Global Status Report or road safety affirms the global average of road fatalities at 17.4 per 100,000, at the average for middle-income countries at 18.4. Fatalities per 100,000 population, the significant impact on road carnage on the economy and society at large provides case for decisive policies and strategies to address the problem. The high number of road traffic crashes, RTCs, and its associated consequences has a significant impact on the South African society, which continues to hamper socio-economic development and impact on the well-being of all South Africans. The impact is measured in terms of human lives, lost, pains, grief, and suffering, as well as increasing costs to the economy. which was adapted from National Road Safety Strategy, which is NRSS in Pretoria on 2017, 30 of March, Thursday. For example, San Mario, which is a country, it has one of the nice and low fatality rates on the road. It has 100,000 inhabitants, but South Africa's very high fatalities on the road. It experiences more accidents on the road. It even made people to be on risk on the roads. So South Africa has lack of accurate data due to lack of investment in data systems and a technological investment, data collision and distribution processing. With all I have said, I would like to rest my case.
With all that being said, we will now be having our 2-minute recess. And when I say 2 minutes, I mean 2 minutes. You are here, you are not, we are continuing. She would have known through the first person, so I would have mentioned. No, I'm not even doing that. No, she does. Let me explain it. No, actually, Everyone, please get settled. We are about to begin. One of our educators is out because it's her. We'll be giving her a minute. After that, we're beginning. With or without her. Excuse me. May I have your attention, please? We will now be continuing with today's session. Like I said, unfortunately, we'll be skipping the Imbizo and we'll move straight to the third speaker. Are we okay? Yes. Are we ready?
Yes.
Please, may we please now have the third speaker from the first school, which is Noorderland War School. May we give him a round of applause.
Greetings to my fellow competitors and adjudicators. I am Mitra Dela, and I am the third speaker from Team Northern. And today I will be summarizing and explaining why my team has already won this case. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just about proving to you that South Africa has the best strategy, but this is also about showing you how effective it already is and can be if everybody played their part, as road safety is not just government's responsibility. Moving on to my rebuttals. They've talked about how other countries are doing better, and we understand that there are countries who have a lower road fatality rate, such as Norway, Sweden, and the US. And I'd also like to highlight how all these countries are high-level countries with resources and a budget that South Africa doesn't have. Not to forget that none of these countries have reached the Vision Zero standard. So these strategies from these high-level countries, are these strategies from these high-level countries as effective as they are made out to seem? The problem is not the strategy. The problem is the people. The strategy cannot work without cooperation from the people, with them being 80% of what causes car crashes. In summary, we believe SA has the best strategy because it aims to improve road user behavior, creates awareness, and the strategy aims for a Vision Zero, which no country in the world has achieved yet. And also proves how the NRS will be able to solve car crashes and injuries by 2030. In conclusion, this strategy is what South Africa needs to This is what South Africa needs. The problem becomes implementation, corruption, and to solve this, we have the best strategy implementation of the world. I believe we have won this case not only because we have managed to prove why South Africa has the best road safety strategy in the world, but because we have showed you how the strategy promotes safety on the road safety education, and we have managed to provide you with enough information as to why this strategy will work. Thank you.
May you please now give a huge round of applause to the third speaker from our second speaker.
Salutations. Standing before you is Ramana Lucia, third speaker from Nadi Senior Secondary School. Well, throughout the course of this debate, we have clearly proven, outlined, and demonstrated that even though the 2016 to 2030 road safety strategy has indeed proven to be the best, but not yet the best in the world. Panel, my team and I clearly considered few of many factors that hinders the road strategy to be the best in the world. First, the inability to enforce existing laws. Second, bribing of traffic officers, and the prioritization of big cities and vehicle driver over unestablished rural areas and people who travel by foot or by bicycle. House, do not get us wrong. The goal of bringing forth these two arguments is certainly not to diminish the road strategy, but to improve it. Well, how? Simple. by my speakers. The new telematic technology, which monitors cars and trucks by using a GPS technology on a computerized map. It clearly reports everything from speed limit to low tire pressure and more. Educators, think about it. Cars and trucks that drive us instead of us driving them can present and may offer transformative safety opportunities at their maturity. Considering the fact that South Africa is still a developing country and reaching its fourth industrial revolution, the technological advancement we bring forth to you have the potential to improve equity, air pollution, accessibility, and traffic congestion. Ladies and gentlemen, the argument has been going on for a while. We all had the decreases and increases in percentage. And we all had how the strategy is not the problem, but the community members. But the main question is the National Road Safety Strategy the best in the world? It's high time we took a jump for better result. And we as Nari Senior Secondary School bring you an innovation that drives you right there. I state and repeat and emphasize, the South African National Road Safety Strategy is the best, but not yet the best in the world. But with our innovation, it can prove to be the best in the world. I rest my case for now.
Alright, may you now please give a round of applause to the third speaker from the third school, which is Polokwane Secondary School.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prince Marapa. I am from Polokwane Secondary School. Today we were gathered by this motion because it shows that the voice of children has responsibility to raise up all adults to show that this motion can change the world. First of all, we should think about that people who believe this motion was going to work for people who believe this strategy was going to work for our nation. We should have been going through it for a lot of times, but some people deny about it. First, I have to say that this is South Africa, the rainbow nation. We have the colors of the rainbows around us because this is our home. We should believe that the states of this country contains everything that happens here. For the love of God, people, we should even have the choices to choose that this strategy could save our lives, could save other people's lives, could save the roads of where people travel from point A to point B. Secondly, I will start with my rebuttals. First, I heard about from the other speakers that said they gave us the percentage about 4% of our South Africa's road strategy has been giving us 4% of it. But first of all, yes, it has been giving us 4% because we want to improve it to reach a whole bio of percentages that could make us reach to the full limit of people to be safe on their roads. We know that our South Africa has not even developed, improving through their technology, but they should. Our technology has gone through a lot of times because our technology is starting to improve more and more and more better. Because as South African people, we should understand that South Africa is also the most improved place for other children to be raised in. We know that we have dangerous roads, we have culture, we have dangerous people holding guns and everything, but the lines to where we should reach is to show that safety should be everywhere we go. But we're here by this motion about our safety strategy for the roads, for our people and for the people who drive. We have billions of cars around us that shows that people could drive high limits of speed, but if we have the right people to walk through the road, we know that we have corrupted traffickers, but showing that our lives have been growing faster and faster, and more people can reach the moment where they think that this is a bad way to make a person who drives really fast.
Okay, moving on, I would love to call upon the third speaker from St. Bede's Catholic High. May you please give him or her
Greetings to you all. I go by the name of Malam Zai and I'll be representing my team. Overall, I'll start by the Rebuttals. First off, the second team here came up with his first speaker who stated in overall facts that he agrees with the motion, but came with that factual statement with fake statistics. From our perspective, because from our understanding, he stated that he's with the motion, then once again he came back to contradict his motion, stating that South Africa does not have the best, which overall contradicts the whole motion he's supporting. Then overall, I would like to move on to the people opposing, which are the 6th and 7th team, who are basically disagreeing with this strategy. First off, can I explain what the term a strategy is? A strategy is a plan, an ideology. And the main problem with South Africa is not because of the strategy, it's because of the people carrying on the strategy. That's the issue. And right now, South Africa has to understand that ever since this strategy was implemented, we have gone through lots of changes. And with given percentages by other teams, such as 4% of the overgrowing accident rate. This is actually an improvement because the main aim of this strategy was trying to improve the overall traffic accidents, whereby it is not a short-term fix, it is a long-term fix because it specifically states from the topic, it's from 2016 to 2030, long-term. So we cannot compare it with other nations that have quick fixes, because they have it easier than us. And we have to understand this is a strategy, an ideology, whereby the problem is not with the people coming up with this, it's the people carrying these ideologies to make sure they are completed. And first off, if you're honestly here saying that you totally are with this ideology, and if you are totally with this ideology, you need to input more important information on the aspect that we here represent our households and community, and we can help the strategy to be evolved in other ways, such as in the aspect of improving the people we're living with, to give them certain information, as my second speaker has given me as this main thing is to give people what knowledge, because knowledge and households can help people in outer places, so they can prevent these accidents from taking place with the constant mind of there's someone else other than me when I'm driving. I would like to thank you for the platform.
This is Rebuttals. I'll be starting my speech in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Greetings to the House in its largest capacity. As our team's previous speakers have said, South Africa has one of the best road safety strategies in the world. However, the implementation of that strategy has some challenges whose solutions my previous speakers have addressed. This is because our motion states that South Africa's national road safety strategy being implemented from 2016 to 2030 is the best strategy in the world. As our team has stated, the objectives of this strategy are to reconcile our objectives for safer roads to the reality that this is still a major problem. Our team's case explored the elements of the NRS strategy using the 5 pillars of road safety, how the problems with this strategy are in its implementation, how the government can improve the implementation by enhancing education of road users, and by making monitoring of vehicles a priority. We also explored how failure to deal with our road safety issues will cost us more in the long term. Now I'll be analyzing other teams' arguments and weaknesses in those arguments. So Nonderland gave us a clear understanding of the NRS. It tells us that it was adapted from Australia, but they failed to give a realistic picture of the strategy. By glorifying the strategy, it weakens their case because it directly contradicts their concession that we have a road safety problem, because if the strategy is so good that the United States should use it, we shouldn't then have a major road safety problem while such a strategy exists. St. Beats then came and told us that we have the resources, but this corruption is the one that threatens the strategy. This deals with the implementation and not the strategy itself. This weakens their case because they're not only mandated to provide solutions that tie with the strategy. However, they fail the mandate by simply telling us that we have a problem, but they can't deal with it. The Kalumisa came and told us that current reductions exist, but they're not enough, and we have an inadequate road infrastructure. In addressing these problems as being the reasons the strategy is not the best, you leave gaps in your arguments because the same problems you identify are not products of the strategy, but problems the NRSS exists to solve. And then Classmate Tapa told us that it's not the best because it does not achieve its objectives. This is problematic because, like the same teams, it intertwines principles and practice. So then your argument is left weak because you fail to explain why practice equals to principle and why it does not meet those objectives. And St. Beach told us that the problem is with human error. This fails to recognize the myriad factors that contribute to road safety problems. This weakens their case because they fail to recognize struggles like inadequate infrastructure and law enforcement failures. So then you give us a narrow view of the problem, while the NRSS actually gives us a holistic viewpoint. That in itself shows that you don't understand the strategy that we're actually debating in its entirety. With all that I've said, I'd like to thank you.
Alright, we'll now be continuing to the third speaker from the 6th school of today, which will be done from Classmate Chapter Secondary. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
Greetings to the House and its fullest capacity. I am Munyela Toriso and I will be representing change. I will aim to give you a brief, chronological and general overview of what I believe are some of the things you ought to look out in a third speaker. I believe that my first and my second speaker have defined this motion well enough to get their points across. I will be touching on some few points that they have mentioned, but first, before anything, I would like to start with my rebuttals. The first speaker from Nari came to the House and told us that South Africa had a fatal crash decrease of only 7.5 during 2015. But according to our research, my first speaker stated with evidence that South Africa had a decrease of only 1.88. Therefore, our rebuttal has proven that there was in no way a better reduction. The second speaker from St. Beats came to the House and told us that South Africa need a little push. But is a little push really what we need? I will now summarize my team's points. My first speaker came to the House and told us that the strategy aims to improve road safety infrastructure, insufficient and broken streetlights, but they failed to reach their aim. Matching our reality, they totally failed to reach their aim because we are still experiencing unsafer roads. They also came forth and told the House that South Africa had a decrease of only 1.88, decrease between 2011 and 2030, which is enough evidence to the House that this strategy remains a failure. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with the summary that I've just presented, my team and I believe that the implementation of the roads and safety strategy remains a failure, because a strategy that cannot meet its own goal cannot be deemed as the best. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our team deserves to win, because not only were we able to stick primarily to our speaker rules, we were also able to present and produce sources and evidence from reliable information factors. We projected empathy for all the people who were involved in the road car crashes. We showed confidence in our presentations, proper knowledge, and also provided the House with effective solutions, facts, and definitely not opinions. With all of that, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to rest my case.
Which is declaring as a second reader. Please give him a
Standing before you all is Pelosi, and I will be representing the Dalmiso. South Africa doesn't have the world's best road safety. That's just a myth. This is because South Africa has lack of proper infrastructure, etc., as my fellow delegate has mentioned, showing us that the South African road safety strategy is not good enough to be world best, and South Africa is one of the leading countries with the highest death rate. One of the contributing factors is road accidents. A speaker rebutted my first speaker, so I want to rectify what she was rebutting that is incorrect. When my first speaker said it's not the best, she was bringing awareness so we can find a good best strategy. Moving on to my rebuttal. The first speaker in Northern said because other countries are using South Africa's road safety strategy, it is the best, but that other countries are using it, it doesn't mean it's the world best, because there are many death rates even though those other countries are using that strategy. Moving on to my next rebuttal, Mamo Lemane, first speaker, she told us what the road safety strategy is aiming to do, told us the strategy is best but not understanding the fact that it's not 100% effective, and she says it's best. This strategy fails us. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. It saves a small amount of lives of people, and we need something really best like the NPRA. Sambit, second speaker, asked the question, who are we to say they are not the best? I like to answer that question, ladies and gentlemen. We are people who are smart enough to see the truth that South Africa road safety strategy is not the best. Reason I say that we can't blame road users for their bad infrastructure, since you are saying they are to blame. That's all I said. I'd like to rest my case.
Okay, moving on, we'll have to skip recess, just as I've stated, time is not on our side. So moving on, we're going to the third speaker, of which comes from Northern Road School again. We're going to have to skip recess. Let's give him a round of applause.
Strategy of 2016 to 2030 is a vision for a safer road, because the National Road Safety Strategy (NRSS) is a production of a national and international policies on. Greetings to the House as large. Standing here in front of you is Polokwane from School Northern. We are gathered here today debating in motion South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy of 2016 to 2030 is it the best road safety in the world. Firstly, I'll start with my rebuttal. Vitaly Mesa came here and said we cannot say South Africa is the best in the world. Why? They gave an example of developed country, which is America. Panel, the motion says South Africa's national road safety is the best strategy in the world, not South Africa's national road safety is the best one in the world. What I'm trying to say is that we are not saying South Africa is the only one that is the best in the world, but there are other countries that are the best. Class Mutafu came and said change in the best. They came and said change in the is the best. Looking at the statistic we've seen, the changes there, 1.8 decrease of road injury, which you all call little improvement, is the change. Everything starts small and grows. We as Northern, we believe that South Africa's national road safety strategy is the best. Why I'm saying this? Second speaker mentioned that zero death on our roads should be the vision that must be admitted for. She mentioned that a vision makes us think about what we need that actually happens so we can get there. So we are trying to tell you that it's our vision that South Africa, it is the best. South Africa's national road safety, it is the best. In conclusion, we believe that South Africa's national road safety, it is the best in the world. That's what I said.
Quickly, we'll have to move on to the last speaker of the day from Nari Secondary School. May you please give him or her a round of applause.
Greetings to the House at large. I go by the name of Mlauzo Kutato. I am the last third speaker from Nari Senior Secondary School. I would like to get my rebuttals. Second speaker from Mamilimane came forth and said, since strategies were there are improved instructions. So how are the instructions proved when we know very well that we are still losing our lives? And also, a speaker from Stand Beats came forth and said, corruption is a problem and that we should reduce corruption. But you didn't give us an example of how could we reduce the so-called corruption, which totally means you are giving suggestion instead of giving a solution. Now to my points. People in the House, National Road Safety Strategy is a reliable and responsible transport infrastructure in our country, which is made to provide a safe environment, as my second speaker also mentioned. With that being said, it has an aim, which is to reduce road crashes in such a way we can at least have low rate of accidents due to car crashes, since we have higher rate of car crashes in our country. With that being said, indeed, is South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy the best? So to that point, which totally means road safety strategies have to be followed in order to avoid road crashes. So everyone, my team and I have come and discovered there are so many ways to avoid the so-called accidents, and one of the ways is to limit speeds while driving, as most of the drivers are likely to not obey the rule. People in the House, as a member of my team, I repeat what has been repeated. South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy is the best, but yet not in the whole world. And also, my team and I decided to win this debate because we claim a clear state on how and initiate road safety campaigns such as Arrive Alive campaigns, and how South Africa's roads are well maintained, which so far proves the best qualities. Yet the fact that we see decrease in car crashes in the certain areas, as attested by even my first speaker. But at that content, South Africa's road safety strategy is the best, but yet not in the whole world. I thank you.
Okay, may we please give a round of applause to the last speaker of the day from Mamilimane Secondary School.
Can I start?
Greetings to the House at large. Standing before you is Mama Bolo Maite, and I will be the last speaker from Mamilimane Secondary School. I would firstly love to rebut. The first team and the fourth team came forth and told us about encouraging and changing the behavior and attitude of road users. How so? Don't you think that the government has tried doing that before? Who are you to tell people to change that behavior? The sixth team came forth and told us about lack of infrastructure. We know that South Africa is still a developing country, and it is believed by the year 2030 this will be fixed. The seventh team came forth and told us that this strategy is not the best. This team kept some stones unturned. What solution do they bring forth to the House which will improve these strategies? Still on the motion, I and my team believe that this strategy is the best,
as my first speaker mentioned, that it aims to prevent and reduce road accidents in the upcoming 10 years. We also mentioned that this strategy works is because of irresponsible drivers that makes this our road unsafe here. And our government is trying all the best because they invented some technologies like traffic lights on the road to keep roads safe. With all being said, I and my team deserve to win because my first speaker came forth and told the House why the strategy is the best, and our second speakers were able to support and prove awareness to the House. I thank you.
Moving on, I would love to call upon the last speaker of the day from St. Bede's Catholic High. Will you please give him or her a round of applause?
The South African National Road Safety Strategy is the best in the world, which is highly relevant. Allow me to pass my greatest greetings to the House at large. My name is Petula Mage and I'm the second guest speaker from St. Bede's High. Into my rebuttals. Team Naren's first speaker came forward, provided 2015 data mentioning SA being the sixth in the world. Are they well aware that the NRSS was implemented in 2016 and that the information is relevant? Furthermore, Class Motabo's first speaker mentioned that the system is the same as the previous one. Our statements, grounded by the former 2016 Transport Minister of Sandra, shows that they have insights that the system was improved and is better than the first one. Ladies and gentlemen, Marciala behind me ascended the stage together with their complaints, outlining that the system has failed. They have failed to interpret. They have failed to organize. They have failed to understand that the system was able to work under severe conditions with no resources, unlike the one of the US, which have failed with resources. Team Mamleman came forward, debated their opinions that those dying in South African roads are breadwinners, which is highly relevant, ladies and gentlemen. The third speaker from Marciala mentioned that we provided no solution. To close the loophole, we urged the Department of Transport to carry out severe punishment such as hefty tickets and jail time for delinquent drivers. Team Class Motabo came forward and told us that this system has already failed. They have forgotten that the system is a long-term strategy that is currently guaranteeing success. To further outline our point, as per roadsafety.sss, a meta-analysis that the system's community outreach, such as the debate we are participating in it today, ladies and gentlemen, workshop, source and association with increased behavior and risk awareness, resulting in accident reduction. As per News 24 article published on the 6th of February, there has been a percentage reduction per 100 ingredients from 25 to 26%, which is a milestone for a developing country, ladies and gentlemen. We have presented to the House how the policy is improving the South African roads. With that being said, we believe that the system is one of the best in the world. Actually, it is the best in the world due to its strategic points to work in unfavorable conditions. Delegates of the House, we have outlined our case, proved it, and provided solutions, grounded by relevant facts, sensed by what is happening in the country's daily roads, what is happening in the country's roads daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly, proving that we are well aware of the amends of debate and its motion.
Speaker from Marciala Progressive. May you please give her a round of applause.
and I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I remember the time that I was in a boat, and the boat driver said, unconsciously so, that whenever you're on the road, always remember that you're the only sane person there. And it struck me knowing that the motion which clearly states South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best road safety strategy in the world, yet the mechanization is unseeable and promising. Greeting to the House in its largest capacity. You are being addressed by Theopistus Ayakimbe. As the third speaker, I'll be mainly addressing the House on why Team Marcelo needs to win, looking at 4 different aspects which are mainly principles, practicality, short-term, and long-term, which are based on the 5 pillars of the UND, which the NRSS is largely based on. By the end of my speech, you will see why Team Marcelo is fit to win, and the opportunities and strengths in our case, as well as our team's case summarized. Firstly, let's go to the principles. We have identified the strong aspects of the NRSS and highlighted some of which we find needing a better propositional improvement. Our proposition includes once in every 2 months inspections, which leads to no modifications linking to improved safety. Our team's case, which we have tried to inculcate, is to better our implementation because we greatly appreciate the road safety strategy which reigns supreme, and we have spoken about the type of implementation and its realistic goals, as compared to Northern, which fails to provide a reasonable demonstration of the strategy and blames people, as compared to St. Beat, which is largely based on corruption, which is largely based on speed, not progress, Mamulemani, which is largely based on the lack of resources, Klasmutabo, which wants to ultimately change the strategy and poses questions, and Nari, which focuses on infrastructure failure and the change introduced by artificial intelligence in a developing country that isn't able to patch its own potholes. The issues with their cases is their inability to provide solutions to the claimed problems. Our proposition directly impacts 2 of the pillars. Secondly, let's go to the practicality. One thing we have noticed is that the monitoring and implementation of the strategy needs improvement in order for us to meet the required ideal. In an article by Zutubi on enw.co.za, it clearly states that about 31% of South Africans use a seatbelt, which indicates that it all starts with our behavior. Our given suggestions are educational programs, which makes us know that it all starts with the individual, inspection, infrastructure improvement, which leads to employment, which directly impacts the last 3 pillars. We have highlighted the short-term and long-term goals, which are short realistic goals, and the continuous development and careful assessments leading to our utmost priority, which is our aim to reduce road fatalities by 50%. In conclusion, I have to do that Team Marcelo deserves to win mainly because we have strategically implemented mechanization that
Before I call on the last speaker, delegates, debaters, please keep your emotions neutral. We are definitely most humbly not interested in whether you feel the speaker made a mistake or not. Please keep your opinions to yourself. You will not be the judges of today. We have educators for a reason. There will be no giggling, no laughing, and most definitely no pretentious coughing in my house. Are we all good? I will not tolerate it once more. Class Mutapo, please. Everyone, please keep your emotions stable and neutral. We are not interested. Are we good? Yes. Now I would like to call upon the last speaker of the day from Class Mutapo. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
My credentials. Allow me to pass my greetings to you all. I am Mampepa Chilfajo, the second third speaker of Class Mutapo. And I will be focusing on the motion that says South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2030 is the best strategy
Okay, now I would love to call upon the last speaker of the day, the last speaker from the Kalemi Seoul Secondary School. May we please give him or her a round of applause.
Greetings to the House at its fullest capacity. I go by the name Atavela Kupoto, representing the Kalimiso. I, as a first speaker, will be mainly focusing on rebutting and setting up my team case. Before I go any further with my rebuttals, allow me to move on to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, what are the aims of the National Road Safety Strategy? The National Road Safety Strategy has the vision of a country where road traffic crash results is a no death and a goal reducing road traffic crash fatality rate by 50% from 2016 to 2030. But mind you, from 2016, South Africa now did not have enough traffic law enforcement officers, with fewer than 19,000 traffic officers and close to 12.5 million vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, this all happened right at the watch of the very same National Road Safety Strategy that they claim is the best in the world. The very same strategy that they claim is the best in the world fails to be best in South Africa first. One thing you need to ask yourself, when was this road safety strategy implemented? Of course it was 2016. Like my second speaker has said, it's 2022 now. And they haven't fulfilled that 50% they aim to reach because mass accidents still take place as RAP data has shown. At least 40% would have sounded more effective because mind you, every life matters. Now don't get me wrong over here. I'm not saying that this strategy is not effective. I'm just saying that this is not the best strategy in the world. Remember, we're talking globally and not locally. This strategy must be best in South Africa, just not in the world. To second what my first speaker has said, we firmly disagree with the motion because, like she said, South Africa's National Road Safety Strategy compared to Norway's, China's, Russia, and etc. is not necessarily the best. Look at this. Moving on to my rebuttals. The first speaker from the number one team came to the fore and told the House that the National Road Strategy is the best safety strategy because it is now being used by other countries such as Australia. But ladies and gentlemen, she failed to understand that just because of countries such as Australia uses this strategy does not necessarily mean that it's the best, ladies and gentlemen. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, could this National Road Safety Strategy be effective for that country? Yes, it could be effective, but then could it be effective in a way that we want to save lives more than saved before? The third speaker from the third team came to the fore and told the House that this strategy aims to reduce road crashes. Therefore, that makes it the best strategy. But delegates, just aiming at something does not necessarily mean that you aimed and you got it correct. We need to look at the aim and see if they have reached their target. Now the question applies, did they reach their target? Absolutely no. They have aimed at reducing 50% of road crashes, but researchers have proven that since this strategy has been implemented, they have managed to reduce 4% of road crashes. What a shame.
Well, we have reached the end of today's debate session. I'm sure a lot of you can agree with me when I say today's session was a really interesting one. We had really tough teams, and I'm pretty sure the educators are having a really hard time deciding who the winners of today will be. But then please do not forget that the Honorable Patrick Soon Shiong once stated that Kyoto Kasamasu, what's not debated, it will forever not be liberated. Now, if everyone is ready, I'm closing the debate session. We may now go to lunch. We'll see you after an hour and a half. 40 minutes. 20. Okay, we're going to lunch and we will see each other after 20 minutes, to be exact. Now, everyone.